Good day, everyone. I am Maurice Buse.
Here's the legend.
I am Jovic Bonifacio.
I'm Alexander Cabriana. Hello everyone, good day. Today we will discuss about the classification of civil engineering services. First, civil engineering is a professional engineering discipline that deals with the design, construction, and maintenance of the physical and naturally built environment. Civil engineering firms provide comprehensive services to the client, while the other firms specialize in areas of engineering such as geotechnical or structural and transportation, water and construction management, and provide their services to a prime engineer, architect, and to the owner. The type of project under the domain of civil engineering pursuant to the RA 544 as amended included the following. First is the street, bridges, highways, and railroads. Second is airports and hangars. Third is the port works, canals, river, shore improvements, lighthouses, and dry docks. Fourth is buildings. Fifth is fixed structures for irrigation, flood protection, drainage, water supply, and sewerage works. And the sixth is for tunnels. So in terms of civil engineering services, services provided by civil engineering can be grouped into 7 broad categories. First is consultation, research, investigation, and reports. Second is design services for construction projects. Third is construction services. Fourth is special services for construction projects. Fifth is engineering support services. Sixth is academic services. And 7 is services as employee.
Hello, I am Jovic Bonifacio and I will be discussing one of the classification of civil engineering services, which is the consultations, research, investigations, and reports. So the scope of services for this category includes number 1, the collecting, interpretation, and reporting information. Number 2 is formulating of conclusions, and the last is to give recommendations. So for the preliminary and feasibility investigations and reports, bago ina-allocate yung pondo ng isang proyekto, extensive investigations and analysis should be done with comparisons of potential plans. So, may mga bagay tayong dapat i-consider. First is the environmental impact of the project. If may maganda ba o may masama na dulot ang isang proyekto sa ating kapaligiran. Second is the sustainable development. Kumbaga, yung isang proyekto dapat hindi niya nadideplet ang mga natural resources. Third is the operating cost, which is these are the expenses related to business operation, piece of equipment, or facility to maintain its existence. And the fourth is the life cycle cost. It is the total cost recurring or one time over the full lifespan of structure. It includes the purchase price, installation cost, operating cost, maintenance, and upgrade or kapag kailangan ng renovation. And the last is the financing revenues, which is the amount projected to be collected during an accounting period. For the planning studies, civil engineer services cover the following. First is the developing engineering requirements for master plans. Second is the improvement plans. Third is the preliminary engineering studies of land development plans. Fourth is the urban plans. Fifth is the regional plans. And sixth is the investigation of environmental conditions. Like what I have said earlier, na kailangan iniimbestigahan yung isang project na kailangan may masama ba or may mabuti bang may idudulot ito sa ating kapaligiran. For the appraisals, valuation, and rate studies, it covers the establishment of prospective rates in evaluating properties through number 1, analysis of existing conditions. Kumbaga, ito yung mga existing problems na kailangan imbestigahan. Number 2, the capital and operating cost. Number 3, the overhead cost. Ang overhead cost is isang tawag sa ongoing cost. Number 4 is the financing cost. And number 5 is the revenues. Next is the assistance in financial matters. So, engineering services include, number one is the evaluation of capabilities of facilities to meet the needs. Number two, probable construction cost. Number three, the annual revenue requirements. So, ito ay para sa mga kliyente who intend to issue revenue bonds. And for the materials engineering and equipment test, gumagamit tayo ng mga codes and standards ng mga kagamitan. Meron tayong tinatawag na mga ASTM. Ganun. And for the direct personal services, ito yung preparation of legal proceedings. For the research and development, we have two types of research. Number one is the development of methods and materials in construction. And number two is the improvement or upgrade of construction materials and methods. So, meron tayong mga special services. Meron tayong 17 special services ng mga civil engineering or civil engineer. Number one is the value engineering. Number two, the appraisal and valuation. Number three, the load testing. Number four, environmental evaluation. Number 5, traffic engineering. Number 6, forensic engineering for structural and other failures. Number 7, operational assistance. Number 8, materials process design. Number 9, pilot studies. Number 10, computer modeling. 11, safety engineering. Number 12, photographic, sounding, and boundary survey engineering. Number 13, the toxic and hazardous waste evaluation. Number 14, the permit and application services. Number 15, the sales and marketing services. Number 16, expert witness. And the last is the representation of municipal or private entities in projects proposed for privatization. So, that's all.
I'm Rayanel Boongaling, and I will be the second discussant. Design services for construction projects. Design services work in the period of time where a project plan is formed, a design is created, permitting is secured, and supplies and labor are assembled. There are 6 construction phases where civil engineering services are required. The first phase, study and report phase. The feasibility of a project can be investigated in this phase. First one, reviewing data and clarification of the client's requirements. Identifying and analyzing government requirements for the project approval. Provision for client's needs, such as planning surveys and evaluations of prospective sites. Provision of general economic analysis of client requirements and alternatives. Preparation of reports containing alternative solutions according to the findings and recommendations. Informing the client of necessary data and services for the project. When starting a construction project, you will have to determine its feasibility by evaluating its pros and cons. In this phase, you will have to consider the objective and requirements of your project, as it can be an opportunity or a problem for you as a builder. Such necessary data includes photogrammetry, reconnaissance survey, property surveys, topographic surveys, geotechnical investigations, seismicity studies, hydrological data, traffic studies, materials engineering, zoning assembly, land use information like deeds, environmental assessment, and impact assessment. Next phase is the preliminary design phase. Preliminary design includes establishment of general size, scope, and location of the project. The services include clarifying study and report phase and coordinating with governmental agencies and utilities, advising clients for additional data and services required, preparation of estimates, revision of periodic status reports, preparation of preliminary design documents such as preliminary drawings and outline specifications. In this phase, analysis occurs after some form of evaluation or funding is available and before design begins. Studies are done to analyze space requirements, issues, the constraints and opportunities of the proposed site, and the cost versus the budget. Preparation of estimates and design documents is made to develop a detailed project program or to investigate certain technical issues in order to determine scope, budget, or project schedule. Final design phase. After approval of preliminary design, basic services for final design are as follows. The preparation of final drawing plans, revised estimate of probable total cost of the project, furnishing the necessary data for the application of regulatory permits, preparation of basic construction documents for review and approval of the client, furnishing required copies for necessary documents, provision of periodic status reports. At this point, it's the furnishing touch of the services done in the last two phase. Specifically, in this phase, the required copies for necessary documents must be prepared for the project to move forward. Bidding or negotiating phase. Services under this phase may include assisting in the bidding process, such as obtaining bids, attending pre-bid conferences, receiving and processing the deposits for bidding documents, issuing addenda for the bidding documents, such as interpretation, clarification, amending, or expanding, assisting in termination of contractors, subcontractors, and materials suppliers, advice on acceptability of materials and equipment proposed by contracts and suppliers. In the bidding and negotiation phase, services are estimating costs to construct the project. It requires competitive bids from multiple subcontractors for specific trades, especially on clarification of bidding documents. It is most important. This stage happens simultaneously with the implementation process. Construction phase. Services in this phase include consulting and advising the client during the construction. We have review work of constructors through design concepts and shop and erection drawings, review test reports on materials and equipment, visiting the project site to observe and check progress and quality of work, the location, providing services by a full-time resident project representative and by supporting staff, issuing instructions from the client to the constructors, interpret and clarify, preparation of change orders, special inspections, testing of work, recommendation of to the acceptability of work. Then we have recommend the client on corrective actions or contractual measures that may be exercised by the client, preparing sketches required to solve problems due to actual field conditions, determining progress of work and preparations of payments due, observing and assisting performance tests and the initial operation of the project, preparation of record drawings from information submitted by the contractor, then finally conducting final inspection and reporting the completion of the project, recommend final payments to contractors and release retained percentage. The focus of construction phase is to develop the system to the point where it is ready for project testing. In this phase, the performance and progress of the entire project is measured to ensure that the project is running as per the schedule. Operation phase. The civil engineer may assist in the startup of the project operations. We have preparation of a manual for both operation and maintenance requirements, provide assistance in adjusting and balancing equipment, identify deficiencies and assisting in obtaining corrections, perform inspection before the end of the warranty period, assist in operator training, set up job classifications and salaries, organizing purchases of supplies, develop charts for recording operational data, observing and reporting on project operations. Most civil engineers are not willing to assume the responsibilities associated with construction phase services without providing resident project representative services at the site. Construction projects vary in size, scope, complexity, and their desired outcome. However, nearly all construction projects follow the same process, from idea to completion. Understanding more about this process can inform decisions about where to start with your project, who to hire along the way, give your project the best chances for success, and give you a sense what to expect for the project as a whole. That's it.
I'm Alexander Cabriana, and I will discuss the third services of civil engineering. A civil engineer can work as a contractor. However, this is true only after the civil engineer is licensed as a contractor by the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or the PCAB. it is considered unethical for civil engineer to allow his license to be used by any other contractors or company except his own. According to Section 23 RA 544, states that only registered civil engineer can take charge or supervise construction or alteration of any building or structure and other engineering works. As a civil engineer can may be employed in other works, including the construction engineer, resident civil engineer, project engineer, quality control engineer, and cost engineer or engineer inspector in a project. So let's define the different kinds of work or different employment for the civil engineering. As employed construction engineer, they manage the planning and design stage of construction projects. They carefully evaluate the structural, electrical, and mechanical condition of each project. And as resident engineer, RE is responsible for ensuring that the construction work of a project is carried out according to the quality, time, and cost requirements of the contract. And as project engineer, it is responsible for the engineering and technical disciplines needed to complete a project. The cost engineer is responsible for projecting costs and expenses reports from the production process, identify and mitigate risk, and develop strategic techniques to reduce excessive financial loss for project buildings. A registered civil engineer may provide the services of a supporting technical employee as required of a construction company. He should, however, be paid the professional fees in addition to his regular salary for any design work he performs for which he signs a professional civil engineer and or engineer record. The civil engineer, when employed, is similarly required to comply with the code of ethics of the profession as the consulting civil engineer.
My name is Carmela Joel Chavez, and today I will discuss the special services for construction projects. Number 1. Geotechnical engineering, including test borings, sampling and analysis, and recommendation of soil. Geotechnical engineering is a branch of civil engineering that is concerned with the engineering behavior of earth materials. It uses the principles and methods of soil mechanics and rock mechanics for the solution of engineering problems and the design of engineering works. Number 2. Establishment of design criteria or demonstrate compliance. Design criteria are accumulated sets of protective measures developed in response to problems encountered in the previous projects. They are intended to prevent previous problems from happening in the future. Number 3. Surveying works, land surveys, establishment of boundaries and monuments, preparation of easement projects, and topographic services. The planning and design of all civil engineering projects such as construction of highways, bridges, tunnels, dams, etc. are based on surveying measurements. Moreover, during execution, project of any magnitude is constructed along with the lines and points established by surveying. Thus, surveying is a basic requirement for all civil engineering projects. Shop or laboratory inspections. Construction inspections related to quality may include checks for materials, work units, process and services designed and planned by the construction company in order to comply with the contract's quality requirements. For preventive strategies, an inspection scheme is also aligned with the quality plan for the construction works requiring guarantee in construction quality. Reproduction of reports, drawings, specifications, and documents required for bidding and construction. Drawings are the language engineers use to convey a project's design requirements to contractors. They show the types of members and connections, their locations, and how they interface. The clarity of structural drawings as well as the level of detail they contain directly impact a contractor's ability to read and understand what they should be building. Reports gives customers and project head means to bid to make effective, timely decisions that could ultimately make the difference between a project being completed within the predefined parameters or completed by incurring additional cost, overruns, and time delays, or even worse, decommission. Documentation serves as a memory of the project. It serves as a record of all the actual happenings on the site at any given time during the course of the project. Documentation is the framework on which a claim is built. Value engineering. Value engineering is a systematic, organized approach to providing necessary functions in a project at the lowest cost. Value engineering promotes the substitution of materials and methods with less expensive alternatives without sacrificing functionality. It is focused solely on the functions of various components and materials rather than their physical attributes. Number 7. Extra travel and subsistence. Travel and subsistence expenses relate to the cost incurred during business travel, accommodation, and meals. Since subsistence is considered as a cost associated with business-related travel, it is treated on the same category. Number 8. Redesign to reflect changes by the client. In construction, paying attention to customers' requests, no matter how big or small, is crucial. A low priority to you may be a high priority to a client. It is imperative that you are on the same page with your clients and with other professionals who are working on the project. Next, assistance to client as an expert witness in litigation. Number 10. Final investigation. Final investigation is based on the findings of the earlier work. This includes the initial investigation, assessment, details such as tests and requirements. Number 11. Preparation of documents for public works. Construction documents are written and graphic documentation for bidding and building the project. These documents are used to make many decisions, and they affect the outcome of the final project and the budget. In addition, construction documents provide a detailed look at the entire scope of the project. Number 12. Land planning and partitioning activities. Land planning is the activity of designing, organizing, or preparing for the future use of land, especially regions valued for natural resources, utilized as agricultural, or considered for human settlement. Land partition is a subdivision of land dividing an area into two parts by a line between 2 points. It is dividing an area by a line running through a point in a given direction. Environmental assessments and impact statements. The environmental impact assessment involves a systematic process for identifying, predicting, and evaluating potential impacts associated with a project development. This process must prefer mitigation measures to avoid, reduce, or minimize the negative impacts on the environment, public health, and property, and may highlight the foreseeable positive impacts. Number 14. Detailed studies to meet special conditions encountered during construction. Number 15. Assistance to the client in the selection and engagement of contractors and subcontractors. Number 16. Assessment of the project's ability are vital to optimizing the lifespan of new and existing structures. Additionally, assessments play a key role in protecting the health and safety of the community at large. Number 17. Computer simulation and modeling. Modeling and simulation enables designers to test whether design specifications are met by using virtual rather than physical experiments. Simulation is particularly important for the design of multidisciplinary systems in which components in different disciplines.
Good day, everyone. I am Irish Dalaja and I will discuss the engineering support services. The professional services described previously often require engineering support services. The engineering support services in general civil engineering practice may involve the following. The first one is drafting. Drafting is also called technical drawing and is the creation of accurate representations of objects, buildings, or houses for engineering purposes. The second one is land and construction surveying. Surveying works to establish the major features of the land surface which can be affected with upcoming construction. And last is the procurement of adequate and correct data. These are information which need sound engineering judgment and guidance. Since soundness of any engineering decision is dependent upon the accuracy and suitability of data obtained in field and laboratory investigations, these supporting services must be under the guidance of the civil engineer whose decisions will be based upon those data.
Good day everyone, I am Maurice Busek, and now we've come to the last two topics, which are the academic services and the services as employee. Under the classification of academic services, these services involve full or part-time teaching or training of prospective professionals and also the upgrading of knowledge and skills of fellow professionals. So academic services may include, number 1, teaching of civil engineering courses in engineering colleges or universities on part-time or full-time basis. So ito po yung mga civil engineer na ang passion nila is ang magtuturo to impart their knowledge and experience sa mga students na dream din na maging civil engineer. So as per RA or Republic Act of 8981, the Professional Regulation Commission Modernization Act of 2000, all subjects for licensure examinations shall be taught by persons who are holders or registered professionals and who will comply with the SHED requirements. So these registered professionals are holders of valid certificates of registration or professional licenses and professional identification cards or special temporary permits or a valid certificate of competency for the profession issued by the Commission or by the SHED. Another academic services is number 2, lecturing in civil engineering courses designed by the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers or the PICE for practicing engineers who want to obtain CBD credits. So a civil engineer can provide and work as a lecturer in seminars designed by PICE, and they work not just to gain but to help others' development, just like the practicing engineers who want to obtain CPD credits. So CPD stands for Continuing Professional Development. So ang mga engineers or mga seeking na maging engineers, they are continuing to learn new skills, new knowledge, and this improves their self and their work and help them to ensure that they are competent in their profession. So number 3 is conducting tutorials or refresher courses on civil engineering concepts and related subjects. So other civil engineers, their work is to conduct tutorials, and ang sikat ngayon na tutorial is yung mga ina-upload sa YouTube or Facebook wherein they produce and they make tutorials on topics about civil engineering concepts. And sa mga refresher courses naman is they help the students who wanted to become a civil engineer and take the licensure exam, so they take refresher courses. So by this, civil engineers help not just the students but the other professionals as well who wanted or who wants to know about civil engineering. And now we've come to the number 4 or the serving as a resource speaker in technical session. So, ang isang resource speaker must be an expert and they specialize in a topic or a specific type of work because napag-aralan ito ng mahabang panahon and nagawa na ito nila or natrabaho na nila ito sa mahabang panahon. And due to that, they can share their knowledge, their work experience as a speaker to audience in technical session. So this work can be in full-time or in part-time. And last in the academic services is number 5, writing technical articles and pamphlets. So some of civil engineers who specialize in writing, they can work as a writer in technical articles, and they can do and create and produce pamphlets, brochures, anything that can share knowledge and skills and work experience through the way of writing to other people. So this can help students who are researching about civil engineering concepts and subjects and other people as well. The last in classification of engineering services is services as employee, wherein this is a condition when a civil engineer engages to perform work or fulfill duties regularly for wages or salary being paid by an employer. Number 1, a civil engineer may be employed for any position or function in any commercial or institutional organization, means a profit organization. With this, a civil engineer, sometimes as being employee, a licensed civil engineer may not allow his license to be used by the company that employs him without the proper agreement for his professional services. Meaning, the civil engineer, meron siyang kakayahan na pumayag o umayaw na gamitin yung kanyang lisensya para sa kumpanya. Kasi labas naman ito sa agreement bilang employee siya at bilang civil engineer siya. Maliban na lang kung gamitin yung lisensya niya para pumirma at mag-seal ng mga plans, specifications, and contract document. And because of that, ang civil engineer dapat mag-charge siya ng professional fee sa lahat ng mga services na pinapagawa ng company niya na labas sa trabaho niya. Number 2 in services as employee is a civil engineer in part-time employment with a firm is considered to be an employee and at the same time a consultant of the firm. So, dalawa ang kanyang responsibility as an employee and a consultant. The standards for an employee and an individual consultant as defined in this manual apply to the civil engineer. Number 3, any civil engineer employed as an individual consultant of any firm, whether the firm is performing engineering, commercial, administrative, management, or financial services, is required to comply with the requirements and the standards established for a consulting civil engineering firm or the consulting civil engineer. And lastly, civil engineers working in the government are governed by laws prescribed by the Civil Service Commission. Again, the topic is all about the classification of engineering services. And services provided by civil engineers can be grouped into 5 broad categories. Number 1, consultations, research, investigations, and reports. Number 2, design services for construction projects. Number 3, construction services. Number 4, special services for construction projects. Number 5, engineering support services. Number 6, academic services. And number 7, services as employee. That would be all. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. God bless.